need to be really careful about, what captions are you using on your social posts? What words are you putting on your packaging?
I mean, you're the expert. So can you kind of tell me a little bit more about like the framing of copywriting for the consumer and the like producer?
I would say you have to consider your audience. So I'm going to say it's a skincare brand for like an older audience. You're going to use different verbiage than if it was for someone for Gen Z. And you have to kind of read it as if you are the consumer. But yeah, now it's more, you're putting out content on your website for Google to read.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Brandon with the Hefé Media Podcast, where we sit down with game changers in their respective industries. Today, I'm sitting down with an old colleague of mine from Cal State Northridge, Shiri Feldman. Shiri Feldman is tapping into the art and science of copywriting. And so the purpose of today's episode is to learn how copywriting and marketing go hand in hand. How are you doing? Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
That was a lot. That was like, I needed to take a breath right there.
Yeah, no, great intro.
Thank you. How are you? How have you been? I haven't seen you since pre-COVID.
I'm great, yeah. I mean, it's been a lot of changes, but you just kind of ride the wave, right?
When did you graduate?
2018.
Okay, so was it December?
December, yeah.
Okay.
The winter graduation.
So it was the same thing for me, but I did the walk. Did you walk?
I didn't come.
Why?
It was raining.
Oh my God. So it wasn't that. So I was the first one in my family to graduate, like on one part of the side of my family. So it was kind of like a special thing. I'm assuming you weren't the first one.
No.
Yeah. So it was like kind of like a special thing on our side of the family, but I was there. I took a photo, like, the little image, the statue thing.
Yeah, the matador.
No, not the matador, the balance.
Oh, yes.
That thing, because I like that. It's
yeah,
like, I mean, we're in an artsy place right now.
Yeah, it's pretty
You'll
cool.
probably see from the B-roll or what have you. But that kind of like, for me, it symbolized like the stress and complexities of business and like how you have to like balance it and like overcome. So it was like kind of symbolic, I guess.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about yourself, for those that don't know who you are, kind of, your background and like how you kind of got to this point.
Yeah. So I'm currently a copywriting consultant, mainly for brands in the beauty space. But yeah, after CSUN, I'd love to also hear your story.
For sure.
But I was pretty lost. And I think a lot of people have like shame over that, like graduating and feeling like I have a degree, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing now. So yeah, I graduated. It took me like months to find a job. Mm-hmm. And I ended up working at an advertising agency. Hated it. It was like, really low pay, really long hours. Yeah. You're kind of just like an assistant. You just graduated. Nobody cares about your opinion.
Yeah.
You're young.
Politics,
whatever.
all that, right?
Yeah. So after a few months, I got laid off, but it was great. Like it
was a blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing in disguise, 100%.
That's what up.
So then I started messaging a bunch of people on LinkedIn. I was like, okay, maybe I could start working for a brand. Mm-hmm. At the time, like it was before like TikTok and everything. So YouTube videos were a big thing.
Okay, yeah.
So I got into like watching like skincare videos. I got really into that. So I was like, maybe I could work for a brand. It'll be a better work-life balance than working at an agency.
Yeah.
Messaged a bunch of people on LinkedIn, and someone was like, you could be an assistant for this manager at this local skincare company. So I was like packing PR boxes. I'm like doing like manual labor, making like
whatever
nothing.
It takes.
Yeah, but I'm like, I got my in. I can hopefully make it work somehow. Yeah. And then from there, I just like started building up. So I started working on like product development teams, project management teams.
Awesome.
Then I moved on to a different company. And so I was in corporate for quite a few years. And then the last summer, the 2022 tech layoffs hit.
Oh, okay.
And I guess what a lot of people don't talk about is that it didn't just impact tech. It impacted like every industry.
Really?
Yeah. So I got laid off.
Oh, again.
So yeah, I was like, here we are again.
Okay.
But now I have experience.
And how did they tell you? They were just like, by the way, or they like brought you into like a room, or what did they do? Or they emailed you, or what?
It was like you just have a meeting call on like Zoom and they're just like, yeah, you're done.
Did you cry or?
No, I kind of like saw it coming a little bit.
Oh, okay. So you felt it.
Yeah. So I was working in the time in a product marketing position. So it's kind of like a nice to have, but not need to have role.
Okay.
So I kind of like saw it coming a little bit. Like,
okay. So you kind of knew the position was like disposable.
Yeah, because the thing with marketing, I think you know this too, probably. Like, if a company's not doing well, the first people to go are marketing because you're not going to market as much if you aren't doing as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I was like, okay, what do I do now? It was summer, so I was like, maybe I'll just chill a little bit. I'll get a job in the fall. Fall comes, there's nothing.
2022, summer 2022.
So last summer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, so then fall comes around, still nothing. I'm like applying, there's like nothing.
And you're like applying everywhere, like Indeed and ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm reaching out to people. I was looking mainly for like product marketing
jobs.
You're
on Craigslist. You're on every channel. Right?
I mean, not that desperate,
no,
but
like,
yeah, like I'm like, yo, I have like
Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, but I was
stuff.
like, look, I have like 4+ years of experience.
Yeah.
I worked for a bunch of beauty brands. Like I should be able to get something.
Okay.
But just nothing was coming.
No.
And I'm like, you know what? Like, why do I have to rely on an employer? Like, I'm going to start my own thing.
Awesome. That's amazing.
And then I was always kind of a generalist. Like, I was like, oh, I could do anything with marketing. I could do your product management, your product marketing. And I kind of learned you have to niche down. And like, the more you niche down and the more specific you are, the more people will need you because you're like the expert at that one skill.
100%. 1000%.
So I've always been like really good at writing and like telling, you know, the like marketing a product in a way that like people would want to buy it, it would convert. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna niche down in that. I studied it, and then I kind of like branded myself that way. And it took me a few months, but after a while, now I've been making more than I've ever had before.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I don't remember, like, do you remember what classes we were in together? I think it was operations for sure. We were in an operations class. But we were in a few
Professor Moran too. Do you remember the essays we had to write?
Who's that?
Professor Moran. I remember you were in that class.
Are you sure I was in that class?
I think so. We had to write these long essays.
Really? Was it operations or what was the...
No, it was like some kind of marketing where you had to write papers.
Because I remember you were in like at least one of my classes, I remember. Maybe more. But you always stood out to me because you were always working like different jobs. Like you were always like making connections with different companies and stuff. Like I forget what company. I remember like you were working with like the Jewish Confederation or something.
Yeah,
at the
I was
time.
interning there.
Yeah, I remember you were working with them. And then like I see all your like engagement on LinkedIn, you know, like you're always like engaging with pretty cool content. So I see you like started doing videos and stuff now. So I'm like, oh, okay, this girl's like really tapping into her, you know, superpower. But I saw something that I think it was you that that engaged with this content on LinkedIn the other day, and it was talking about like how marketing is like, for example, it's not like everyone could do marketing. Like people think, oh, I could do marketing, or like anybody could do it, which yes, they could if they applied themselves like anything else.
Yeah.
But it's really not true. And like how you're saying that you're like niching down, that's really important. I want to learn more about how you kind of evolved and figured out how you wanted to go towards copywriting. Like what like inspired you to be like the aha moment where it was like, okay, copywriting is my path.
Yeah. So I had a manager at one of the old companies that I worked at, and she would give me like the blog posts to write because there was no one else to write them.
Okay.
Or things like that, or package copy. Sometimes like they didn't have a copywriter, a dedicated one. So I would just be handed off that work.
Okay.
And so I was like, you know what? I have something here. Like I can do this. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to run with it and see if I can improve my skills here, get more experience. And yeah, it's worked out.
Yeah. 100%. Because look at the thing about it. Oh, and by the way, this episode is sponsored by InteleGates. InteleGates.com is an electric gate company. They automate gates all throughout Orange County and Los Angeles cities. If you are in an apartment, for example, and the gate is locked, you don't have any way to get in and out of the gate complex, make sure you go to InteleGates.com and contact InteleGates, Ron at InteleGates.com. He'll make sure to get your gates working brand new again. So just wanted to get that sponsor out of the way real quick. But going back to what we're talking about as far as like copywriting, and like you said that your employer was having you write blog posts, like how do you see like copywriting like impacting businesses small and large in terms of like, there's a marketing term, it's like a kind of a web development term, it's called SEO, search engine optimization. Like how do you see like that going hand to hand?
Yeah, so SEO and blog posts are pretty much have to go together because people don't actually read blogs anymore. I think there was a point in time, maybe in the early 2000s, where people did. But yeah, now it's more you're putting out content on your website for Google to read, not necessarily people to read. But you still need to make it, readable and make sense.
For sure.
But yeah, you're kind of trying to up your ranking in the Google search engine. So that's where blog posts come in. But then I see also like a lot of companies don't value their messaging. Like they just kind of put generic wording on everything. And I think they're suffering for it. Like
for sure, 100%.
So I think you need to be really careful about, what captions are you using on your social posts? What words are you putting on your packaging? On in-store, graphics, the words are terrible. Honestly, what I read, I just go to the store and I'm like, who slapped this on?
Yeah, it's pretty much, they're just trying to complete a task, check the box.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. They didn't have anyone dedicated to really focusing on that aspect of their marketing.
And that's why I kind of chose InteleGates to sponsor this episode, because he spends quite a bit of money on PPC, which is pays per click advertising. That's like Google ads, Yelp ads, things like that. And he pays a company to do like the SEO and different things like that. But I'm like, hey, you need somebody, or you need to like really tap into writing the message that kind of, how can I put this, expresses like what the company is and what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the expert. So can you kind of tell me a little bit more about like the framing of copywriting for the consumer and the like producer, and how like you position that message for it to be most impactful?
Yeah, I would say you have to consider your audience. So I don't know, say it's a skincare brand for like an older audience, you're going to use different verbiage than if it was for one for Gen Z. So I think you have to consider that, and you have to kind of read it as if you are the consumer. So like if I was a consumer, I knew nothing about this brand, and I just see it online or in a store, like, do I understand it? Do I want to buy it? Like, I think you have to think with that mindset.
Okay. And when did you like kind of like learn about that? Or when did you kind of step into that frame of like, because I feel like we kind of do that with a lot of different industries. Like, for example, like with video marketing or whatever, it's like, would I buy from that? Would I engage with that? Would I like that,
Right.
And I feel like it's like a kind of like a similar like framing.
Yeah.
When did you kind of like learn about that and kind of are tapping more and more into that, so that,
Yeah. I think as the years go by and you get more into marketing, you just see like there's so many brands and it's such a busy space. How do you like get over all that noise and really convert?
For sure.
And so I think it's just like familiarizing yourself with all the brands out there and whatever space you work in, whether it's entertainment or beauty or music, and seeing like, okay, how can I really differentiate myself and push past all the noise?
For sure.
Yeah.
No, and it's fun, right? You're having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like you're discovering more and more parts of like something that's there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's cool. So you mentioned converting, and I wanted to kind of go in a little bit of that, like the science behind copywriting. Is there anything in particular, like maybe some examples or data or anything really that you've kind of seen, like maybe it's like the same material, the same content, but just different copy, and then seeing how like that impacts the consumer, or if do you have any examples like that, or anything you could think of?
I would say in keeping things really clear and concise. So like less fancy language, just make it really clear, really short. I think sometimes they try to like, I don't know, when you see a packaging and there's just so much words on it, some of those products that they tell you the whole brand story. Yeah. It's like, you can put it on the website, but yeah, like nobody's going to read that full paragraph. Sure. That doesn't like make me want to buy your product. Yeah. So I think keeping it really clear, really concise is key. Okay,
cool. And then, I know you have seen, and we've talked about it actually, about like AI and how AI is coming into copywriting. Like people are literally writing like press releases and different things like that with AI. Like what's your perspective on AI, and how can AI impact, different marketing companies, and how AI can impact copywriters?
Yeah, so I've spoken to so many copywriters about this, and a lot of the older ones are in denial. They're like, I'll never use it. And I'm like, that's kind of dumb. Like the tool is out there, the software is out there. Like you're going to have to use it. For sure. And then other people are saying, you're dumb to get into copywriting now. Your job will be taken over by AI. And I think
they're saying that about everything, right?
Yeah, you could say that about a coder or whatever. Yeah. So I kind of have a different approach to it. I think that in the past, the person who wrote was always, the show, the star of the show. And then you had your editor, and they were just like whatever, editor, a proofreader.
Okay.
I think now ChatGPT will be the writer, the main writer, but you'll be the prompter and the editor.
Okay.
So like whatever it spits out, sure, that's your base, that's your outline.
For sure.
You can use it, but like don't just like verbatim use it. Like see like how can I adapt this to my actual product? How can I edit it? How can I proofread it to make it fit? And I think that's where it will help companies. Like you said, like companies are using it to write press releases. So maybe it writes your press release, but then you had to prompt it correctly, and then you had to edit it for your company.
For sure.
So I think whoever becomes amazing at prompting and editing will do well in the space.
Okay, so editors.
And I think companies will expect you to produce the work faster because you're using it.
Oh, really?
And possibly, hire less copywriters, fewer, and possibly also charge a lower rate.
Okay, that's what you kind of oversee.
That's what I see.
What do you think about cuz for example, the ChatGPT like programming it, will it be like, hey, I want this article to be written in a girl voice or a man's voice, or someone that's like conservative, or someone like what's your perspective on that? Like, is it going to be programmed like fine-tune, or
I think the tools will improve, like ChatGPT and others. Right now they're honestly not great. Like if I ask it to come up with product names, they're super cheesy and bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even if you do a good job at prompting it.
Okay.
But even so, I think that you can become a master prompter and a master editor. So like seeing like, what did it produce for me? How can I then take these options and make it better? Because always like the starting point is always the hardest. Like writing that first outline or that first draft.
Yeah. Do you see yourself like maybe for like volume, you're using the tool to like get things out there, but do you like see yourself using like your own imagination to write whatever inspires you to, or like using a combination of the both, or how do you kind of see yourself?
Yeah, I try to use it to a minimum.
Okay.
But I've always struggled with like creating an outline, especially like for blog posts or email copy, or even like writing a website from scratch, like a landing page from scratch is always really hard.
Okay.
So I'll
That's
usually
why you use
like
templates and stuff. Is
yeah,
that
so
like,
it's
this is good.
It's pretty much my template.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I go from there.
All right. Cool. So obviously, like you told me that you're like 100% freelancing now.
Yeah.
So how do you go about business? Like, are you just like Shiri Feldman, doing business as Shiri Feldman, or are you creating like your own company, or how are you operating right now?
Yeah, currently I'm just like marketing myself as a consultant.
Okay.
LinkedIn has been amazing. I'll honestly just reach out to different brands, different founders, other copywriters in the space. Like I've actually gotten jobs through other copywriters.
Okay. Well, nice.
Yeah,
That's
they'll
awesome.
be like, hey, someone came to me with this opportunity. It's not for me, but maybe you'd be interested.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, people want to help each other
yeah,
out.
no, for sure. The same thing with like, video marketing or whatever the case may be, like it might be a better fit for somebody else, and you just kind of
I think
delegate
freelancers especially, like everyone knows how hard it is to find work. So everyone wants to help each other out. Like
for sure. Are you on any of the other platforms? Like, what is the other platforms? Where you find different like freelancers, Fiverr? Are you on like Fiverr?
I'm not. No. Honestly, I've gotten most of my jobs through like word of mouth and like LinkedIn networking. I'm now getting also into like Twitter and Threads.
Social media. I see you like posting more videos and stuff now. Yeah. So you're starting to do more of that, right?
You have to. I feel like the only way to really like, if nobody knows who you are, what you're up to, then why would they call you to help them with their business? You have to self-promote.
Yeah, no. And I've always said that, that social media, and I didn't create this saying, but it's said in the ethos that social media is word of mouth on steroids.
Yeah, for sure.
It really is, because like people haven't heard from you, haven't seen you in a long time, but then they'll see you like on social media doing things, and then it just creates more opportunities. So I think it's vital to be on social media, especially if you're like, it's for business purposes,
100%.
like creating more opportunities and different things like that.
Yeah. And I think showing your face too, like if people only produce text, it's like I don't know who you are, but
For sure.
Showing yourself on video or doing this podcast, like you're creating like a personality.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
You're approachable.
And I tell that to companies that I meet with. I'm like, for example, like a dentist company that I'm talking to, we're getting closer to signing the deal. But I'm telling them like, hey, you guys can't just put like graphics on there. Like people don't care. And like, and you know, like the type of graphics that are like, just like engineered, you know what I mean? Like they just got it from like one of the
stock photos.
Like people don't want that. They want to like, they want to see community. They want to see culture. They want to see like interaction. They want to get to know you. They want to be like, oh, I know this person. I know Shiri.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like when they meet you, they're already your friend.
Exactly.
Right? So I think it's important that that yourself and myself continue to tap into social media, and then like what you're doing with the copywriting. I think it's really cool. Like I'm watching like your content, and like you're like literally like, I used the word obsessive because I'm like, I admire Kobe Bryant, and that was his thing, like obsession. Like obsession is natural. That was one of the campaigns that we did for Body Armor sports drink. And so like in a way you're kind of obsessed. So you're like looking at all the details on the products and stuff.
You have to be obsessed with like every single word.
And I think that's what really gets people to be the best at what they do.
Yeah, 100%. If you're not passionate about it. Yeah, a lot of people like don't care about packaging, or they'll just like whatever.
Yeah, like what you said, they just slapped it together, and there's
a
like
lot of
whatever.
it. I'll look at websites all the time, and I'm like, who wrote this? It's like so bad.
Mickey Mouse, right?
Yeah.
Like Mickey Mouse thing. So, so I want to know like who's the ideal client? I know that you're tapping in more into like the beauty industry.
Yeah.
But like, who would be the ideal client for you? Like, how would like that workflow be best for Shiri?
Yeah, I'm looking for people who don't want generic coffee. Like so many brands in every space, it just all sounds the same.
For sure.
And I'm so tired of it. I like people who will get out of the box, maybe be a little cheeky, maybe be, say things that not everyone will say, and that catch your attention. Okay.
And so basically it kind of sounds like you want to work with people that are excited to work with you, and you're excited to work with them.
100%.
And they're open-minded and different things like that.
Yeah, and who value copy, because like a lot of people don't, and a lot of businesses don't. They're just like, why do we care? We'll just have someone on our team slap some words together, or we'll use ChatGPT now. And it's like,
what are like some examples of some companies that you kind of like admire, that you see that they're killing it with their copy? And maybe we can think of some of their quote unquote competitors, and how it like, just to kind of give us a visual on, the importance of copywriting.
Yeah, I look at more brands in the beauty space.
Like Just Do It. You're wearing
Nike.
You're wearing Nike, and I'm wearing Adidas.
Is good at everything marketing.
I don't even know what Adidas. What's the Adidas slogan?
The slogan? I don't know. I guess they don't really.
Naomi's your sister. She's wearing some Adidas too. So.
But yeah.
Do you know the slogan, Naomi?
For Adidas, I don't think they promote it as much as Nike. But yeah, if you think about Nike, they're a marketing company first. Like not even marketing, a message forward company. Like all of their ads are focused on the message.
Impossible is nothing.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
They're not doing a great job of marketing that.
Impossible is nothing. So yeah, you were saying that like when you talk about Nike, you have like a feeling. It's like a feeling.
Messaging comes first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other companies? I mean, I guess that was a good example. I mean,
yeah.
Adidas. I like Adidas because I don't know. I'm an underdog type of guy. I like the underdog. We need to get Adidas on the line right now, and get Shiri on their team to get.
Yeah,
I love impossible is nothing. Adidas, like, let's go. Right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I love brands who are also kind of funny on like Twitter and stuff. Okay. Like, have you seen Wendy's Twitter?
Oh, were you talking about Twitter? Or are you talking about Threads? Or are you talking about X?
Oh, X now. But yeah, I still call it Twitter.
You're confusing me.
I still call it Twitter.
Okay, so Twitter. I saw some of the funny stuff on Threads, but so Wendy's is doing some funny stuff on Twitter/X.
Yeah, they've been doing it for years, honestly. Like, their tweets are great, and it has nothing to do with Wendy's. Like, they're just funny.
Yeah. And why is that important? Like, let's educate these audience why, like, this stuff really matters. Like, yeah. Like,
it's because you're not just being like, buy my product. It's like, I am fun. I am a brand. There are humans behind this.
For sure.
And, like, that will make people feel more connected than you just pushing out product.
For sure. I think it's so important that people realize that stuff. It's like in a way, it's kind of like the art of detachment in a way, because like you're doing whatever you got to do regardless if like these people are buying or not, but we really want you to buy and be a part of what we're doing.
Long-term thinking.
Yeah. Like that's what branding is.
It is.
And
like you're not going to get results instantly.
Yeah. And you know, but it's especially like in the digital side of things, it's like you're creating digital assets. Like I kind of look at it like kind of like in the NFT world. Maybe it's not like technically like an NFT, but I mean, if you have a trademark or a copyright or patents, different things like that, then it can be, you know, it's intellectual property. But like literally you're building digital assets that are reflective of your brand, and like that has value, that has worth. Like you could package that up and eventually sell it one day if you wanted to, you know, has influence, different things like that. But kind of to segue a little bit into a little bit more about Shiri, what inspires you? Like who's kind of like, what inspires you? Is there someone that inspires you in particular? Is there like, do you have I think the proper terminology is it's a muse or a muse? Is that
muse,
a muse? Do you have like a muse or anybody that like I look up to this person?
Yeah, I look up to other copywriters. I've interviewed quite a few in the past few years that are making like really good money.
Okay.
I'm talking like $150 an hour.
Oh, so you're gonna pull a Bobby on me right now? You're like, she's always like, so do you make a lot of money? Like on our podcast?
No, I'm saying like people who left the 9-to-5 grind.
Okay.
They can set their own hours now. They can work from whenever. They can make a really good living. And they do work that they enjoy, but they're not like tied to any employer. They also have multiple streams of income from multiple clients. So they're, you know, pretty safe, you know, considering.
For sure.
I think that's the way to go. So I look up to those people.
For sure. Is there anyone in particular? Any name drops? Can you name drop anybody or?
I don't want to name drop, but.
No? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I also look up to like previous bosses of mine who have like helped me. Like they weren't just a boss who just like gave me tasks. Like they really took the time to be like, you can do better. You can move on to bigger and better things. And like, let me help you out. Let me try to give you opportunities. Like that's what I want to be for others too. Like I try to help people under me because I know what it feels like to be struggling to find a job or being laid off. Like I've been through it all.
But now you're your own boss.
Yeah.
You're your own boss now. That's what's up. Okay. So can you give anybody maybe that's watching this, any advice, up and coming copywriters, any marketers, that are maybe they don't know what direction to go in, but maybe you can share some wisdom.
Yeah, I would say follow Daily Copywriting and Chase Diamond on like LinkedIn or Twitter.
Okay.
They give really great copywriting tips. Just read and write a lot. Like that's how you get good at anything, just by doing it. So that's the way to go. And I would say network, just like reach out to people on LinkedIn, say like, hey, would you want to meet up for a virtual coffee or an in-person coffee? Just build up your network and then you won't
virtual,
be alone.
like you're sipping coffee virtually or what?
Yeah, like over Zoom or Google Meet. I do that a lot.
Okay, I haven't done that.
Yeah. Oh, you'll have to do it. It's great.
I always do stuff in person. I'm like, I had a guest on my podcast, maybe, I think it was like in April, I think, with UbiTube, and I invited her to coffee like, this was like, I don't even remember when it was. I think it was like literally a little after the pandemic. But I had her just like literally just had a coffee with her just to have a coffee, or there was like no like intention really other than like kind of just networking. Yeah. And then eventually I went to one of her comedy shows, and then eventually she came on the podcast. So it was really cool. But I like doing stuff in person. I like meeting people. Like, but the Zoom and stuff is really efficient too, you know?
It's really great because like 20, 30 minutes and it's like, okay, now I know who you are, what you do. If I ever need help, I'll reach out to you. If you ever need help, vice versa, you know?
Yeah, no, and especially like when you're working with people, like when you want to qualify a client, Zoom is really good because sometimes like, you know, unfortunately some clients don't qualify, you know, because
you don't want to work with everyone.
Yeah, because of whatever reason, you know, and like, that helps save time, money, energy, everything.
For sure.
So I think it's really important. Can you walk me through like your process of like how you work with clients, just so that maybe someone's watching this podcast now and they really like you, they want to hire you? Like, what's your process on like taking on clients or working with people?
Yeah. So right now I'm still learning, but right now I have like a client who's pretty much full-time, but like full-time hours, like 40 hours a week. And then I'll take on a few part-time clients, like anywhere from 3 to like 15 hours a week. Okay. And then I'll do those clients like after hours because the full-time company I work for is based in Texas. So it's like Texas hours. But yeah, I would say it's very doable. I would say you have to like kind of build up to where you have maybe either like 2 part-time bigger clients and then like a few smaller ones. But I think diversifying is the most important thing. And then also like making sure that as you're gaining more experience, you're upping your rates, whether hourly or like a monthly retainer rate.
For sure. So, so it's kind of funny that you mentioned this because the last guest that I had on, Yvonne Armenta, she has a 9-to-5 job. She works in a company. I think it's like a remote job, what have you. But she takes on like a few clients. And it kind of sounds, it's kind of like a little similar in your situation where you could only take on X amount of clients for maximum efficiency in a way.
Right. Yeah, if you have too many, your work will start going downhill.
So are you kind of like maxed out right now, or are you like, how many more can you take on?
Yeah, so even with the full-time one, it's month to month. I'm still a consultant for them. I'm not an employee of the company.
Okay.
So I'm not tied down to them in any way. And a lot of the part-time ones I find are very like come and go. So like 1 month, maybe you'll have a lot of work for them. The next month you won't have much. So it's really important to like fill your basket.
For sure.
And obviously only work with people who are easy to work with and that you want to work with and who will meet your rate.
Okay.
But no, I think you just keep on building it.
So this one for particular, not to get it too much into detail of your business.
Yeah.
But you mentioned it's month to month. So is it like, it's just month to month, or do they have to give like a notice if they're going to like pause the campaign?
Yeah.
Or whatever?
So I've heard with some freelancers and consultants, they'll have the company like sign something that says like, oh, if you want to get rid of me, like you have to give me like 4 months.
Oh, really?
Or you have to work with me for at least 4 months.
So you give them that contingency,
yeah.
prior to getting into contract with
Yeah,
them, or
I don't do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that's one way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of take life month by month and have savings. And again, like with each new client I'm getting, I'm like, okay, I have more experience, so I can ask for a higher rate.
For sure. So just to kind of share, like on my end, I do campaigns, month-to-month campaigns, and my contracts are usually month-to-month. So they could, in theory, back out at any moment, right? But I always tell them, like, hey, like, minimum, let's do a 3-month campaign, you know?
Got it.
For effectiveness, especially, like, if we're running, like, content, video ads, different things like that. Like, that first month is really just, like, laying the foundation, right?
That makes sense.
Right? And then the second month, 2 and 3, we can run ads if we want to run ads, etc. But, you know, like month to month, the 3-month minimum. But what I'm finding is like, I think 6 months, 12 months is really like more appropriate because like when you're going to make a larger investment in your like marketing, social media, etc., you need to give like a good amount of time to see results.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you. But with copywriting, a lot of it's like project by project. Like, oh, we want to revamp our website, or, oh, we're coming out with a new product.
Okay.
So like once they're done with that, they may not need you as much. Yeah. And also there's not that direct ROI as there is with like social. You could directly look at your analytics. With copy, it's a little bit harder unless you like A/B test, like for an email.
Yeah. So how can we make it easier?
I would say if you produce good work, like they will see results, but the copy isn't everything. It's only one portion of your marketing. Like it goes hand in hand with your graphics and everything else.
For sure.
So it's not a direct.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's a work in progress. Just like the same thing with me, with what I'm doing with my business. It's not just like video marketing. There's so many different aspects to it. It sounds like you're eventually going to create either an agency or a company or something that kind of all works together to produce everything that you want to produce. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what copywriters typically do who I've spoken to. Like they'll get so many clients that they can't take them all on, but they want to keep them. So they'll hire out someone a little bit below them who can and like kind of form that agency, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I want to see how we can work together too in the future. Like,
okay, yeah, sounds good.
I think that you're very talented. I'm grateful that you're here. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
I love all the things that you're doing. Like, keep it up. The TikToks, the videos, like everything that you're doing, the podcast. You know, I'll get you all this this material too, like the full episode. If you want to cut stuff up, you can go ahead. Amazing. But yeah, I just want to like encourage you to continue going. I know that you have a bright future. I've always known that you had a bright future. Like, there's not many people from CSUN that I've kept in touch with. but you were like always one of the persons that stood out to me out of all the people. Like I can't even probably name more than 10 people that I remember. So you're like one of those people. So I really appreciate you coming. Is there anything that you want to share? Any message that you want to say to anybody that's watching? Maybe any up and coming people, whatever, anything off the top of your heart?
Yeah, I would say if you want to become a copywriting consultant or you want to work in beauty, like all of these spaces are very niche, but you could do it. It will take time and you're going to have to hustle and put in the effort. And it could take like a year or more to build up, but you can get there. And I would say be smart with your money, like have multiple streams of income.
For sure.
Yeah.
What about the expenses? Like, what do you think about your expenses? Just being smart, mindful.
Yeah. I would say get smart with your finances because it's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep.
For sure. Yeah. I spend a lot of money.
Well, if you're investing it back into your business, it's different, but
yeah. No, but it's cool. It's cool. Like, I mostly invest my money into my business. Like I'm not like a big flashy guy. At least I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like I don't have like
where's your Rolex?
Watches, and stuff like that. I've never really been into that, but you know, I appreciate it. I like it. Like, you know, if a company wants a sponsor.
Yeah.
So. But I want to give another shout out actually to InteleGates, the electronic gate company. They service electronic gates all throughout Orange County and Los Angeles cities. If you have a sliding gate, an electronic gate, a telephone entry pad system, if you live in an apartment, you know the manager and the gate is like locked up and you like need to get to work or what have you, you took an Uber and it costs you money, get them in contact with InteleGates.com. They'll make sure that your gates are operating at full capacity. You have no issues with your gates. This company goes all throughout LA, all throughout Orange County. They're a really awesome company. I use them for my gates, and everyone that I know, I refer them to InteleGates.com. They keep it kosher. So thank you so much. And Shiri, it was a pleasure having you. I wish we could talk more, but I got Jeremy here. I want to get this next podcast rolling, but I'm looking forward to seeing your bright future.
Yes. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.